guys, in this video I'm going to talk you through differentiation. Now if you have a differentiation question, it could be phrased in different ways. They may ask you to find dy by dx. It could also say f dash of x, or it could say differentiate with respect to x. So they all mean exactly the same thing. In each of these we have to differentiate. Now in the first two examples it says find dy by dx. So I need to differentiate. What you need to do is look at the power of x. So in the first one, the power is 4. And you need to take this number and multiply it with the number that's directly in front of x. Okay, so the number 2. 2 multiplied by 4 gives us 8. So that is the first part of our answer. Then the power on the letter x changes. It decreases by 1. So 4 take away 1 is 3. So that gives us the new power. So the answer is 8x cubed. We've already done it. That one has been differentiated. Okay, on to number 2. It looks hard, but it's exactly the same idea. It's just a bit longer because we've got different terms to deal with. So just like before, look at the power of x. So in this one, the power is 5. And remember, you need to multiply that number with the number directly in front of x. Well, there is no number in front of x because it's 1x. We don't usually write the number 1, but just bear in mind that there is a number 1 here. It's just invisible. We don't usually write it. So 5 multiplied by 1 is 5. Then, just like before, the power on the x decreases by 1. So 5 minus 1 is 4. So we're left with x to the power of 4. Okay, so we've differentiated the first term. On to the second one. Take the power, so this time it's squared, so the power is 2, and multiply that number by positive 3. So 2 multiplied by positive 3 is positive 6, so I write plus 6. And if I decrease that power by 1, 2 take away 1 is 1, so we have x to the power of 1. Now, you could leave it like that, but usually when it's a power of 1, we don't write it, we just leave it like that. And that means exactly the same thing. Now, on to the third term. So this time it says minus 4x. We can't actually see what the power is, but when it's just like this, the letter x, it means x to the power of 1. Okay, they're exactly the same thing. A bit similar to earlier, we don't write the number 1 when it's to the power of 1. Just like here, if it's 1x, we don't write 1 at the front. So take that number 1 and multiply it by negative 4. Be careful not to forget that sign. So 1 multiplied by negative 4 is negative 4. And then if we subtract 1 from this power 1, 1 take away 1 is 0. So you could write it like that. However, we can simplify this. If you know the rules of indices, hopefully you remember that any number to the power of 0 is always equal to the number 1. Okay, that's useful to know if you don't know it already. So if you times a number by 1, the number just stays the same. So minus 4 multiplied by 1 is just minus 4. So in actual fact, you don't even need to write this. You can just write minus 4. Okay? Now for the last part, it's really easy. We didn't see a number up here, so this is new. When you differentiate just a single number, a constant like this, it disappears, okay? So when you differentiate the number 6, it goes to 0. You could write plus 0, but we don't really need to write it. We can just leave our answer like that. Now, on to examples 3 and 4. It says find f dash of x. So remember, that's just a different way of asking you to differentiate. So we've been given functions, and we have to use exactly the same method as before. So for the first term, take the power 3, multiply it by the coefficient, so the number in front of x. 3 multiplied by 6 is 18. Then subtract 1 from this power, so 3 minus 1 is 2. So we've got 18x squared so far. Then take the power on the next term, so negative 2, be careful, this time we've got a negative, and you times that number by another negative 2, okay? Don't forget the negative signs, they're important. So A negative number multiplied by a negative number gives us a positive. So minus 2 times minus 2 is positive 4. And then if we subtract 1 from this number here, the power minus 2 take away another 1 is minus 3. Now, just like in the previous example, we have just a single number, a constant. Whenever you differentiate a constant like this, it goes to 0. Okay, so we've finished example 3, that one's done. Now, on to example 4. So this time it says f of x is equal to 1 over 14 x to the power of 7 minus 5 6 x to the power of 6 plus a quarter x cubed. So it looks really difficult with all these fractions, but it's exactly the same thing. It's just good if you can simplify your fractions as you go through the question, if you can do that. If you need some help with simplifying fractions, I do have another video on that, so you might want to watch that. That's quite useful. So, just like before, take the power. So this time it's 7, and if we multiply that by 1/14, we get 7/14. But this is the same as a half, so instead of writing that, we can just write the simplified version. Then subtract 1 from 7, so we've got 6. Then 6 multiplied by 5/6 is minus 30 over 6. But again, we can simplify this. 30 over 6 is the same as 30 divided by 6, which is 5. So I can write minus 5 instead. Subtract 1 from the number 6, and we have 5. And the last part, 3 multiplied by positive 1/4 is positive 3/4. And 3 minus 1 is 2.